The episode most highly anticipated.
How many times are you going to drink? Only once.
I promise just one more joke.
All right. I'm going to have to edit that whole first 37 seconds of this out.
Yep.
All right. I'm Jeremy Futrell.
And Matt McDougal.
I'm going to lose my job. Oh.
Fuck.
What are we talking about, Matt?
I don't know.
What are we talking about?
I can give a recap of Dublin.
Let's do that.
All right, let's start there. I won. All right, recap over. No, it was a good comp. The guys in the top four all won 2 or 3 events. Well, obviously, only one of us won 3 events.
I tell you what, let's
we'll just go down
let's
through it all.
turn this into a part 1 recap. So we did an episode called Pre-Gaming for Ohio and Witzstock.
Yes.
So let's call this part 1 of the recap. And we're going to recap Ohio and what you got right in your predictions or wrong, or what went well, what went poorly, and what the inevitable result of that was.
Yeah, so, things we did right. Everything, I guess.
I mean, technically, spoiler alert, did you win any events?
2.
Okay, out of, did you throw all 9?
Yeah.
But you still won.
Correct.
So, arguably, did you do everything right, or did you just do enough right?
Well,
When you walk away with the first place trophy, is that doing it right enough?
I mean, I had 2...
I would argue yes.
I'd argue yes. I had 2 PRs, so that's doing it mostly right. That's on track with all my other games so far, I think.
Yeah.
And it went well. I didn't let myself get discouraged after getting absolutely molested in the stones, because John Yeoman is a freak and threw a 42 Braemar and a 60 open stone. So that was I'll post a picture later of me just staring at him as he's rotating. My exact thought was, how am I going to beat this man? So we were tied on Nazca going into everything, so... Yeah.
But now you're not.
But now we're not. Yeah, now he's ahead of me, but I won, so...
Yeah. All right, so let's break it down event by event then. Did you guys throw traditional order?
Yep. Yeah, we did.
All right, so traditional order, Braemar. How did Braemar feel?
Braemar felt fine. I ended up throwing just short of 38. I couldn't really get a good flick on the end of it. I couldn't tuck the stone very well, but all my numbers are going up in the gym right now, so I kind of just boinga a little harder, and so it went. I'm really excited to get to throw a 20, 21 pound Braemar sometime soon, and ignore that. And then
This is work related.
yeah, and then we got Yeoman threw a 42. Moving on to open stone. Mm-hmm. Couldn't quite spin the way I wanted to. I ended up throwing a high 46 throw. I scratched 2 throws that were over 50, which would have been PRs, but just couldn't stay in, and that's how it goes. So
Sometimes you can't stay in.
yeah, I pushed a little hard. Or I obviously pushed pretty hard because I was trying to throw further, and just couldn't keep it together. Heavyweight went fine. Jeremiah Giambaltolomeu ended up taking first in that. He PR'd with a 39-foot throw. I ended up throwing 37. Pretty par for the course for me. I didn't actually scratch any of my heavyweight throws. And I had a pretty good series. It was like 36... I think it was 35, 36, 37, as I added a little bit of ass every time. Lightweight, I opened up with an 81-2, so that was good. Certainly a PR. Threw a 79, something to follow that up. And then I scratched the next throw, and my 2 extras I scratched. So I put a little bit too much ass into it, and should have stayed relaxed, but I won the event by 10 feet anyway, so that's okay. It still didn't feel like a good throw. There's a lot more there. I'm excited to see where that event specifically goes. Yeah, what else? Heavy hammer through 90. Came in second on that.
Only 90?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that on par for you? Or are you...
90 to 95 is pretty normal for heavy. I'm hoping to crank out something over the 100-foot mark.
Yeah, to break that triple-digit mark.
Right.
Because to be throwing a 80-foot lightweight, you would think the correlating number to that is close to 100, you know?
Yeah, so I'm throwing...
If you were to scale everything...
Right, so my PRs is, and the weights are like 90, almost 97, and then 117 flat.
For the hammers, not the weights.
Yeah, sorry, for the hammers.
Yeah, if you're throwing a 97 and a 117 in the weights...
Yeah. Not yet. But yeah, so Patty won both of those. I took second in heavy. I took third in light by like an inch, but I just couldn't quite get connected on them. My low point was off to my left. I don't know what was happening, so I blame it on being stupid.
Your low point in your weight throw actually was not perfect.
No, my weight throws looked and felt like shit. They just went far, so that's pretty nice.
They were fast.
Exactly.
They were fast and long. They were directionally incorrect.
Right. And then, what else? Caber, flipped to 45 and then 212s. That's generally how it works for me. I have to figure out the implement, and then I can turn anything. Came in third on that. Sheaf was last. So, went to Wob. We had a 3-way tie at 14. We all missed at 15.
You've been missing at 15 a lot lately, I feel like.
It's every other right now.
Yeah.
It depends. This game also started. We didn't get our first throw in until 4:30.
Okay, see, because my next question was going to be, if 15 is a mark you have hit in the past, on the 50-50 days where it's off, what is...
Oh, my form is
making it off?
shit.
Okay.
So, in warm-up, my 13 opener went about 17 feet.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't trying, and I got into good positions, and I just pulled it. And then everything went to shit, because I knew I needed to do well to stay ahead of Yeoman. And, because at this point, I was 4 points ahead of him going into that event. And then, so there was a 3-way tie at 14, and then he ended up taking 17. So he won that. I tied second, but it was really tying, because the way the points were, me and Yeoman were tied after that. So going into Sheaf, I knew I just had to beat Yeoman to win overall. And I ended up winning the event with a 28. I had the height.
For a 20-pound bag, right?
With a 20-pound bag, yep. So I can throw that better than I can throw a 16, which gives me a lot of confidence moving on to the pro class here soon, which we'll touch on in a second.
Spoiler!
Yeah, spoiler alert, guys. But,
I need a soundboard.
Yeah.
That would make this way more fun.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I ended up throwing 28 for the win. I had the height once or twice for like 32, 33 with a 20.
What kind of jumps were you guys making?
2-foot jumps. So we jumped to 30. I left it out in front twice, and then I hit the bar 5 times. I know that's more than you can take, but we just kept throwing because we were there, and it was midnight, and they hadn't done the scores yet. So,
what would you say broke down on your sheaf that it had the height, but you were leaving it in front or not making over?
I've been working really hard on tightening up my orbit in front of me so I don't pitch it quite as far backwards. And that actually came through a couple times. And so I normally take 3 steps forward on those throws that were good. I should have taken 2, 1.5, because they were...
Up and down.
Yeah, they were up and down. They were a lot better.
Functionally correct for a height event.
Yeah, so they were what we actually want.
If I preach anything repetitively in the Highland games, it should be that height throws are height throws.
Yep.
If you have to be more than 3 steps away for any of them,
and that was
something is wrong.
That was the same thing with the wob for me. I mean, I hit the bar on the way down a bunch, but
tell me about it.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's the best.
But yeah, so I ended up coming out with the win there, followed by Yeoman, followed by GM Bartholomew, followed by Patty.
I was about to say, Patty take 4th.
Yeah, Patty took 4th, and Patty had a great day. He threw 102 and 119 in the hammers. He's got to get his weights up, and then he can actually do something. But
Yeah, because I feel like his weights... What is his comp lightweight PR right now?
65.
Okay.
He's 35, 65.
What's his heavyweight? 35?
35, yeah.
Okay.
So, and his one turn, he's thrown one turns over 70 now.
Yeah.
He just can't do it come comp. So,
What the fuck? Why is that? I don't know.
yeah, it's a 40-foot Braemar, and yet cannot power the
Lightweight
anymore,
or the
either of them.
heavyweight. Yeah.
It's like,
Something's fucky, Patty. It's almost like you're constantly injured.
his hips cannot rotate in.
Hey, stop being the idiot we know you are.
Yeah. Be better.
It's okay. It's
Well,
a
let's
shot
see if I
glass,
like
but all right. I mean, it's rum. So,
20%. I need to know how violent it's going to be.
no, it's not at all. It's incredibly mild.
Goes great with the Taco Bell.
What doesn't? Matt's going to be ruining my toilet tonight.
Yeah.
Specifically my kid's toilet, because I don't really use that one that much, so that's fine. That only took 11 minutes. You did that recap really, really fast.
Yeah, there's not much else to say. I mean, it was... actually, I lied. There's more to say.
All right.
That qualified me for IHGF
There we
Worlds.
go.
So, in FIFA Norway. And it also set me up to do the North American Championships in Wichita, Kansas, which is where my family's from. So, I'm going to go out and do that.
Sweet.
See the fam. And that's the last week of September. And speaking of last week of September, that will also be my last amateur game.
Because
I will be going pro at Radford, it would seem. So the plan was to go pro on my birthday in Richmond, but because of the budgeting of that one, we don't know if that's actually going to happen. And I want my first pro game to be in Virginia because I'm, a Virginia boy at heart, even though I'm, not from the state.
Which, speaking of the pro class at Radford, not that we have a large audience by any means,
No.
but if anyone out there is interested in sponsoring a portion of that game, our buddy Chad Clark recently made a post, and you can reach out to him, or honestly Matt or I, and we'll point you in the right direction. We are trying to grow the pro class at that game and make it... It's a super cool game, and so we want to make it as cool as it should be.
Yep.
For throwing in the middle of a college campus. It's really neat. So if you know of any businesses or people that have a vested interest in that, or even may, tell them to holler at Chad or Matt or myself.
Yeah, and quite literally anything. So, like, the gym will give stuff away at it, because for us, it's essentially free publicity to give out a couple of shirts for competitors, to give out patches and stickers and things like that. So, if you can't do anything financially, I understand, shit sucks. But anything that you're willing to do is in front of a crowd of people that, genuinely give a shit about what they're doing and do take time to respond to sponsors. And we try to keep it pretty professional on and off the field. So, and everything except this podcast.
Yeah, really. This is our outlet for being idiots. So the rest of the time, we're relatively well behaved. We are not goons 24/7. Jesus, my dog is losing his mind right now. On top of Matt, just making it very interesting. Hey. All right, cool. So that set you up. Now, explain. You said it qualified you for Worlds and North American Championships.
Correct.
So, for my own edification, because these are the things I don't know that much about in our sport, did it literally, quote-unquote, qualify you? Like, is it a set written rule that anyone who wins X game automatically is then qualified for Y and Z game?
Yes.
Or is it... Okay.
Yes.
Because I feel like there are also unspoken things in our sport where...
Right.
Like, it's understood that if you win ECCs, you're probably going pro the next season. Like, that's an unspoken rule.
Yeah, or top three anyway.
You know, and stuff like that.
Yep.
But for North American and for IHGF Worlds...
Correct.
That is one of the games.
This was a qualifier for that.
Okay.
The benefit to winning North America is they pay for everything. So if you win that comp, then they'll pay for your flight to Norway. They'll pay for the hotel in Norway. There's actually a pathway there. It's also just a cool comp. So like my comps in order in the next month, ignoring the smaller ones, are like Northeast.
Don't ignore Witzstock. We have to do a whole recap of that one now.
Woodstock, Northeast Championships, East Coast Championships, North American Championships. So there is a
I'll only be
there.
at one of those.
Yeah. And then also Loon and a bunch of others. But
You can do... Is Loon not already happened this year?
Nope.
Oh.
It's a great game.
It's a great game. Well, dope. Well, then where does that change your outlook on Witzstock at all? Because if we're going to use this as kind of a follow-up to our pregame episode, does that change anything for you going into Jerry's Backyarder?
I don't remember what I had said my goals were for Jerry's. But
have fun and throw a decent... And readjust to a 20-pound sheaf, I think, were your bullet point.
Right, yeah. So, or readjust to a 16-pound sheaf.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Readjust to some sheaf.
Yep. So, yeah, that is the plan. My right hand is pretty torn up from throwing, yeah, and also just moving around gym equipment and stuff.
That's what he calls his dick.
Yep. So it's God, it's just so big, so much hard on my hands. But
it's the knurling.
right. So
500 subdermals.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw that game left-handed for the most part, just to save my hand for the events that matter. And in doing so, I think I'm probably gonna try to just hit like a 33 sheaf and a 15.5, 16 wob. I think I'm going for points at Witzstock, but just on.
So you think you're going to win wob and take extras? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
When you leave it up front on every 13,
right,
and I get to call my shots after that. Fuck you.
So I really am planning on taking 2 lefts and 1 right for every throw.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Like, unless, if heavyweight's just clicking and it's like I open at 38 plus, then I'll stick with heavyweight and I'll try to throw 1. But actually Braemar, I'm gonna try to push Braemar.
Yeah, Braemar is one that I want to push there.
We should have a relatively light stone for Braemar, so.
Yeah. If only I wasn't horribly sunburnt and just did a bunch of bench yesterday, it would go so much better.
Well, you still have a whole week.
Yeah, it's a good bit of time. And bench I recover from pretty quickly. It's not like squats or deads. That tends to take a lot more time. Oh, me. All right. Cool. Is there anything else you want to hit on with that? I have so much editing to do in this one for downtime and hysterical laughter and other things.
Anything else.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest takeaway is, like, don't worry about winning events and don't try not to sandbag if you're in the competition, right? Like, just because you didn't win 2 events or 4 or 7 of them doesn't mean you won't win a comp. Like, this was true for me for strongman. This was true for powerlifting. This is, like, I very rarely win, more than 1 event or more than 2 events.
You only had, what, 1 9-game event? And that was Caber and Fireworks? Is that the only comp where you've swept?
That sounds right. Yeah, my only 9-point game. So,
yeah.
And
I haven't won nearly the number of games Matt has, but I've done well at several, and it's usually because of that. Like, I have weak events, but not sandbagging then when weights go bad is what keeps me in contention for a top 3 finish.
And, like, on top of that, I don't know what makes some people decide what events are going to train, but I always train the events that I came worst in at my most recent comps. Those are normally pushed up
100%, because being well-rounded is more beneficial as far as winning the competition.
Right. And something else you can see once you are in kind of the tighter places up top, like 10 through 50, is you can say, all right, let's give me for example. Before the jump this weekend, I'm sitting at 13th. There's no one above me that has worse hammers. Okay, well, that's clearly the thing I need to move up on, right? Like, I look at my heavy and my lightweight. There's like 2 people ahead of me. I look at my sheaf. There's 2 or 3 people ahead of me, right? It's like everything else is middle upper pack. This event is below that standard. I need to work on hammers, right?
Yeah, so you can, honestly, even outside of that placing, you can look at the people 10 above you and 10 below you.
Right.
And you can see the bubbles that exist of, hey, most people are throwing a 32 to 35 Braemar. They're throwing a 35 to 40 open. And you will find which events you are fitting inside that bubble and which ones you are either excelling in or lacking in. And if you're excelling, those are the ones where I just ignore them. Like, if I'm beating most people at my games in one certain event, I'm not training that event. Because it doesn't matter how much I beat you by, points-wise, at the end of the day. I need to go work on the week events. So, you'll be better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all that matters. Getting a little better every time.
Yeah. You know what we can do? We can save this segment and then add to it after Witzstock.
Yeah.
We don't have to publish a little 25-minute
Recap.
ding-a-ling. We will... All right. Then I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. That is our recap following Ohio. It was short and sweet. And we're going to come back to you in a few days. In what, 4 days?
Yeah.
After Witzstock? And do a breakdown of how Witzstock went. With any luck, Matt will win it. With any luck, I will be on the podium. Yeah.
I'd imagine you'll be in second.
I would think so. We covered that in the recap. I don't need to explain on the podcast why there's a chance that wouldn't happen. But it is possible.
Yeah.
So.
Pitter patter. We're all very well rested.
Yes.
And we're going to finish this episode. And now we're going to recap Witzstock. So, do we want to break it down, Matt, for your entire game throw by throw, or do we just go the whole game event by event?
Let's do event by event the whole game.
All right. People playing at home can do point math if they want.
Yeah.
You
Should
don't
be
want
easy
to.
for one of us.
It's honestly pretty easy for the other one too. All right, we started with Braemar.
Yeah, Braemar ended up throwing a couple inch PR, a 38 something. I don't quite remember. I just know it's enough to give me a singular point at least, which bumps me up to 72. And after that, I didn't care. 7,200 points to clarify.
Yes. Not a 72-foot Braemar.
Yeah.
Dear God.
I've been training hard.
In the hospital.
Yeah.
Running
hard.
Yeah, you're dead if you... this is all a fever dream.
Right.
So I threw Braemar like a jackass. I couldn't finish my stone throws all day long to save my life.
Yeah.
What I end up... I mean, it was still over 30 feet. It was a respectable Braemar, but it was not far over 30 feet. I was hoping to throw like 33, and I think I threw like 30 and some high change, maybe. Yeah. So, it was not the day for that. Matt and I realized after stones that, maybe the birthday week was catching up to us.
Yeah.
And that we might need a little bit of caffeine earlier in the day than we thought we did. So then we moved on to open stone. Matt, how'd your open stone go?
It was fine. Like, I power through a 43, 42, 43, something like that.
It was 42 something because it was around where my open stone was.
Yes,
they were both
correct.
42.
Yep.
So yeah, you power through a 42.
Yep. And then I tried rotating, and I just could not do that. So.
Yeah, Matt technically left the door open for me. If I hadn't been a non-finishing piece of crap, I could have won open stone.
Yep.
But I didn't. I, once again, was a non-finishing. I think I threw like 39 or something.
Sounds right.
Like, I think I was almost at 40, but I didn't crack 40. And it was the first game in a couple where I didn't. So, yeah, stones were going really, really well. But the placing on that was that Matt took first in both of those events. Mm-hmm. In Braemar, I took third, and in open, I took second.
Correct.
Yeah. So then we moved on to heavyweight.
Yeah.
Mateus.
Heavyweight was fine for me. I one-turned a high 34, low 35, somewhere in there. And then I tried to put a little ass on it, and I just couldn't. I did really aggressive hamstring work at the beginning of the week, like an idiot.
Ditto.
Not like an idiot.
That also may have been our problem.
Right. Yeah, the next comp that actually mattered to me is still an entire week away from today. And Jeremy is ECCs, right? So
Yeah, I've got time to not be an idiot.
So this game really was just kind of a fun game to do. It's a good one. But yeah.
I need to stop being peer pressured into relatively heavy deads the day before and
we also
maxing out half the machines at my gym.
Yeah, we maxed a lot of machines out on Friday.
And it was a lot of fun, but it may not have been our best choice.
No, it was poor.
It was a poor choice. Milk was a bad choice.
Your heavyweight.
My heavyweight was okay. I threw 29.
Yeah.
Kind of the bar I'd set for myself lately was to not be under 30 ever again. So I'm a little sad. But 29 is still a respectable heavyweight throw. And, like, it was a decent pop on the finish. I fouled my first one, which honestly probably would have been pretty good. I was really on balance. But I just stepped ever so slightly onto the top of the trig, and I felt my toe do it So I kind of just jumped up off my right foot and slammed the weight into the ground in front of the trig. And everybody was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, that was entirely on purpose. Like, I didn't want to toss this 20 feet down there, get a shitty mark, and make you people have to go shag it when I can just slam it down in front of the box. Like, now it's here. We don't have to go anywhere. This was, yeah. But yeah, I ended up with like a 29, and I took second in heavyweight. And then
lightweight.
Woo! Matt, talk about your lightweight. This is the order of events we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
lightweight, I one turn to 68, which is, a good one turn for me. And then I just couldn't add a second turn. My knees would not allow me to do that. So, I scratched my next two, which is not like intentionally scratched. I just fell.
Yeah. It just went bad.
My legs just didn't work as well as I would have liked them to.
I hope you all can hear my dog panting next to the phone while we record this. This is...
Yeah, it's good.
See if it picked up. So then my lightweight... I one turned 61.4. So I finally cracked 60, and by by over a foot. Yeah. So that was a really good... It was a good feeling. If you watched us act like idiots on my story... That was why. We'll post a full video. We did not go live. What we decided to do instead was we just got a lot of video, and we'll turn that into a little compilation reel for y'all, and just put up footage of each of us throwing that whole game, pretty much. I think the only thing we didn't get video of was caber.
Yeah, but
You've watched us turn cabers.
Yeah.
It's the same every time. We're not bad at it.
Yep.
So yeah, lightweight, Matt took first, I took second.
Yeah.
Then we went on to hammers. Matt, how did your hammers feel?
Heavy hammer felt like shit.
Yeah, because mine felt like donkey dick.
Right.
It was abysmal. I think it was stones, and it was anything where we really had to reach out in front of something.
Yeah.
And it was bad.
So we were throwing on rattan, whandles, and
rattan?
I don't know.
I think it's rattan.
Them wooden boys.
Yeah,
and I don't know. The handles felt thick. And so
they really did. They weren't whippy.
Right. I normally get a lot of whip out of the wooden handles.
I think they may not have been soaked recently.
Yeah, I got zero whip out of the wooden handle. Yeah. So
it might as well have been oak.
Right. And so my heavy hammer was bad. I mean, I'm normally in the low mid 90s on heavy now, and I did not crack 90. I think I threw 84-10, which I think is what I threw at my very first games.
Right.
So that was a poor mark for me.
Yeah, and I should have thrown in the low 80s, and I did not.
Yeah.
What did my heavy hammer end up at? Like 70, upper 70s.
Yeah.
I think it was over 75, but it didn't crack 80.
Right.
It was pretty mid. It was very. It didn't feel good. The cage felt very close on my right. I didn't move it to my third throw. And let's go ahead and talk about the marking, shall we?
Yeah.
And this is not a slight to the guy that was doing it, because I understand why, and it is a backyard game. So our marker that we chose for hammer for some reason.
I don't think we're throwing PRs anyway.
No, we weren't. But and here's the thing. I think he mismarked everyone, so it's not like.
Yeah, it still sucks for new throwers.
It does. Did it make a difference for Matt and I? Not really. Like, we got persnickety just because we're bitches. Cause we're used to the finer things in life.
Right.
But so our marker, who is a very sweet guy, he has to stand in the shade for he cannot be in direct sunlight. I think he's a vampire. You can't prove he's not. But there were several where we started to go, is that where my hammer hit? I feel like that's not where my hammer hit. And then so we all started paying very close attention, and other people would sit there and stare at the divot. Now, we are staring from behind the cage. We are not in the field, but we were fairly sure that things were getting mismarked. So it was a bit frustrating. But honestly, guys, if you throw enough games, you're going to have that eventually. I've had people mismark my WOB scores on the score sheet before. And there is no easier event to judge than weight over bar, because did weight go over bar? Like, it's...
It's a yes or no
It's a pretty easy thing. And, I understand that when a metal ball on a stick is getting hurled at you, sometimes it's hard to keep track of. So I just wanted to say that we may have been bitchy day of, but it does happen. We don't hate anyone for it. I'm not going to yell at you and make you leave. So it is what it is. But
Light hammer
also felt like dog shit.
Yeah.
I think I really that was the only one that frustrated me was I just like to have decent marks. I don't like the idea of having a bad mark now. Like, and I'm gonna have a quote unquote bad mark. I threw in the 90s.
Right.
But I think one of my throws was very upper 90s, and it got marked as like a 95.
Right.
So like that was a little frustrating.
I also had to throw like that, so I ended up finishing 115 and change, and but it didn't go as far as the throw right before it that got marked at 110. Like, it didn't go as far by a substantial amount, and it was my farthest of the day. And I just have to choose not to think about that, but
Yeah.
well.
It'd be like that.
Yep.
Caber was next.
Caber.
Yeah, so we threw it was a decent caber.
I won hammers, by the way.
Yeah, Matt won hammers. I took third in both hammers.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I beat Bryce in either of them, which is sad because he's so small. Shout out to Bryce, though. I haven't seen Bryce that happy at a game in a while. That was very nice, and I think he has realized that lightweight is the way to go. And I didn't realize he was so close to it. I mean, Bud only weighs 225. If he drops 15 pounds, he is one very mediocre cut away from being a lightweight athlete. I think that would be a good move for him. He'd be very competitive. Not that he's not somewhat competitive here, but it makes sense for Bryce. And I'm happy for him, and I think it will keep him healthier and enjoying this longer. Even though Matt thinks lightweights are bullshit. No. So caber, is it how let's just paint a picture. How long is that caber? 18 feet?
Yeah.
And fairly whippy. It's dry, so it's not the heaviest caper in the world, but it's got a good taper to it.
Yeah.
We had a group of what, 8 or 9 guys?
8
guys. By the time everyone showed up or didn't show up, looking at you, Timmy, Garrett. So any hoozle, I picked it. I threw a 1230.
Yeah.
I was the first person to turn it. I was also the first person to throw it. We've been doing drop order, and I was firsties on caber.
Yeah, 11:45 was your first.
Well, no, she said that, and I was like, "Are you serious?" She said, "All right, 11:30." She changed it to 11:45. You're right. It was 15 minutes off instead of 30. Yeah. I'm bad at math sometimes. It sounds like 11:30 should be better, but it's not. So it was 11:45 because you threw an 11:30.
Correct.
So yeah, I threw 11:30. You threw 11:45.
Yeah.
Then we stopped fucking a boot.
Yeah.
And I threw a midnight. You threw a midnight. No?
I didn't. No, I threw a 11:30, a 12:30, and then a turn,
and then a something.
Right.
And I threw 11:45, a midnight, and then like a 11:30 or something, like something else, a hair off. So it was a very good caber day for me. It was a decent caber day for Matt.
Yeah.
But it's just us throwing a stick. You guys have seen that, so we didn't get video of it. But so I actually won caber. Matt, did you take second in caber? Yes, you took second. And then for the point shake-up, so all day long it had been me, Matt, and Bryce in the top 3.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening in caber was that Bryce ended up losing an additional point, or lost several points to me, because he came in 4th and I came in 1st. So it made me feel nice because all we had left were height events, which I can hang on height events. That's fine. So Sheafy also just didn't feel it. Guys, it was so fucking hot. It was so hot. And we're finally in the shade to throw Sheaf. And I hit 24 and I missed 26. Like, that's the short summation of my Sheaf. I was tired, man. And that showed on Wob too, which we'll cover in a second. But like,
yeah,
I was beat. And I refuse to use smelling salts to hit a 26-foot sheaf. I'm not doing that. If I'm not hitting 26, I'll use it if I get up to 29. We'll start amping it up. But I don't deserve inhalants if I'm not hitting 26.
Right.
I'm not doing that to myself.
Yeah.
So, Matt, sheaf.
My sheaf was, I mean, I sound like a dick here. My sheaf was pretty mediocre. I PR'd the 16, but for where I am throwing right now, I did okay. I opened at 27, got it first try, jumped straight to 32, got it first try, jumped to 33.6, and I hit the freaking bar 4 or 5 times. Yeah. And not just like hit below it. Hit in front of it, it starts to roll up and then slides back down.
Heartbreakers.
Yeah, after coming off a victory against the world chief champion.
Jordan Petty.
You know, I felt pretty good about going a little higher than that, but that's still a PR with the 16, and I only have 5 more games with that implement, so I'm trying to... I'm trying to get a decent number in so that I can be like, oh, well, as an amateur, I threw blank. But I think I'm going to throw the 20 farther than I've thrown the 16.
At the end of the day, eventually, yes.
Right. It's going to be a couple years, but...
Yeah, it'll get there. So then we went on to Wob. And in Sheaf, Matt took first, and then I tied Bryce for second. Yeah. And then everyone else fell down on countbacks. I think a couple people still pulled at 26, but I think they had more misses at 24 than I had. I don't think I might have had one miss somewhere in there. I forget where it was. Or no, I had one that almost went outside of the standard. Right. They gave, but it was I came in at 18 because I was not feeling well, and not sick, just not feeling athletic. And he was like, I was on the edge, but I'll give it to you. And I'm like, good, because I can bottom up 18. Right. So please don't make me do that again. But that was fine. So then we went on to Wob, and once again it was a case of not feeling snappy. Like I hit 12 on my first, but I missed 13 twice. Yeah, which is uncharacteristic for me. Like I've been debating making 13 my new opener so that I have more gas for 14, and today was not that day, folks. It was rough. If I hadn't received some words of encouragement, so to say, I probably would have missed it, but I refused to go out like that at 12 feet. So I hit 13. Then and Matt and I were the only ones left. So we called 13.9 so I could try and squeak out a PR, because it was kind of clear that it was not the 14-foot day. But my PR is 13.6, so we were like, let's try 13.9 and see what happens. So we tried it, and I had the height for it, I think, once. Yeah. At least. They were good pulls at it. It was fine. But it didn't go over, and that is what it is. So, Matt, how did your walk go?
It was fine. So, I also didn't feel particularly snappy. And I was tired at that point. I was tired all day, but especially after the small adrenaline dump of Sheaf, I was done. So, I came in at 13, through 13.9 with Jeremy. Those were both, very nonchalant, easy makes for me. I jumped straight to 15.3 to try to eke out freaking, what would that be? 12 points. But jumped for a small PR, hit the bar a couple times, but it wasn't in me anymore, so we called it good.
Yeah, it was good enough. So, it ended up shaking out. Matt won the game overall. Yeah. I took second, and Bryce Crispies took third. Yeah. So, it was a good time. Let's see, what'd you end up at points-wise then, Matt, for that game? 10. Okay, good. I'm not even going to do the math on mine. Right. It's more than 10. That's how that works.
Like 21, 22.
Probably.
Low 20s.
All right, 2 on Wob, 2.5 on Sheaf, so it's 4.5. Mm-hmm. 1 on Caber, 5.5. Mm-hmm. 6 for Hammers. Yeah. So that's 11.5. And then 4 for Weights, 10.5. And then another 5 for Stones, 15.5 points, probably somewhere between 15 and 18. I'm sure I'm fucking up something. Who knows? It's somewhere between 15 and 18 if I had to guess. It doesn't matter. It's second place. So, but yeah, that was it. We had a lot of newer throwers come out, and they did really well. Got to see people we hadn't seen in a while. Jerry always hosts a fun game. We got to go hop in the pool and then go have drinks with friends. So it was a lovely time. I can't wait to do it again next year. It's going to be a blast. And Matt will have to throw us a demo so he can get fucking wrecked. I'll finally get my first place Witzstock medal.
Yeah.
Even if Patty comes, fuck you, Patty.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the only other notable thing was I finally got a athlete of the day thing, or a
Well, they gave they were overalls, but they were also, there was a nice little speech that went with them. I also got a thing, so that was nice. We both got little bonus prizes, which is a good feeling because I've always been too much of a smart ass to get one of those.
Yeah.
While I am helpful and I do throw good, I understand why you don't call me up at the end of the game and pat me on the back. So.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good time. So this is going to be a shorter episode, but there is our recap of both the Ohio game and now Witzstock. So
What's next for us? ECC prediction?
yeah, I think that'll be the big one. We might do a small recap for your No Fame game.
Yeah, for the Northeast champs.
Yeah, so we'll do a small recap for that just to see how it shakes out because Matt will be going up there soon to go throw.
Yeah, we'll do a 30-second prediction on that game.
Yeah, that'll be a short one.
We're going to do it right now. I'm going to win. All right, cool.
All right, Matt says he's going to win. There's your prediction for the No Fame games.
There it is.
The
See
Northeast
if I get
Championships. Yeah, well, you are the crow god.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, folks. Yeah, we will do an ECDC. Rewind it. We will do an ECC prediction coming up here soon, as well as whatever sort of interviews with people we can actually get scheduled and done.
Yeah.
So, all right.